Alright then my friends, so in this mini course we're going to be looking at how we can work with files and the file system with Python. So how to read files, write to files, how to use the Pathlib module, context managers, and also how to read JSON files as well. There's quite a lot to cover, and hopefully by the end of it you'll feel much more confident working with files and the file system. Now, this is actually a free chapter from the much bigger Python Masterclass course I recently released on the netninja.dev site. So you can kind of think of this as a bit of a course preview. And if you like this free course, this chapter, then definitely check out the full Masterclass course if you want to learn more about Python. It's just $10 to buy, or you can sign up to a NetNinja Pro subscription to get access to all of the Masterclass courses, including this one, for just $9 a month. And your first month is half price when you use this promo code right here. So I'll leave the link to this full Python Masterclass course down below the video so you can sign up for it. But anyway, I really hope you enjoy this free chapter all about working with files using Python. Right then, let's start by looking at how we can read content from a text file. So first up, you're going to notice that I've already got this text file created called characters.txt. And if we open this up, we'll see that inside this file is a bunch of Mario characters, one on each line. So this is the file I want to read from our Python file. Now, I've already got the main function set up, which only runs, remember, if we're running this file directly as its own program, which we will be doing. But now what I'm going to do is also make another function for reading a file called read_file. And I'm going to do that outside the main function. And the reason you do this is so that this function we're making could then be used in other files if we import this module. If we made the function or logic directly in the main function, then we wouldn't be able to ever reuse this function in other files. Not that we will be doing, but I just think this is sometimes a good habit to get into. So what we want to do then is invoke that function from the main file, because we will be running this as its own file. So now let's flesh this out with the logic that we need to read a file. So then there's a few steps to doing this. First, we need to open the file, and we can do that with a built-in Python function called open. So let's make a variable called file, and you can call this what you want, by the way, but set it equal to the open function and invoke it. Now, as an argument, we pass in a path to the file that we want to open. And importantly, if it's going to be a relative path that we pass in here, that path is relative to the location in which the script is run, not relative to this Python file itself. For example, in my terminal, if I was to cd back up to the desktop and then run the file from there, then the file path, if it's a relative one, would be relative to the desktop and not relative from where the app.py file is. So make sure you're in the directory that you want to create the file relative to, or rather read the file relative to. And now we can add the path, which is going to be characters.txt, into this file as an argument. All right, so this path is relative to my position in the terminal, which is inside this project directory. Okay, so now we can pass a second argument into this function, which is also a string, and this string is normally just a letter, or a letter with a plus sign after it, which refers to the open mode of the file. And the open mode determines what we can do with the file, like read it, or write to it, or append to it, etc. For now, we just want to read the file. So we're going to add R for the mode, which stands for read. Right, so that's the first step, opening the file. The second step is to actually read from the file. So up here, when we said file is equal to this open function, we're storing the return value of this open function in the variable. And this variable now represents an interface through which we can interact with the file via different methods. For example, we can read the file by using the read method on it. So let's do that. Let's create a variable called content, and we're going to set that equal then to the file and then use the read method on that file. And this method reads the file content and it returns a string to us. You can also pass a number into this method as an argument if you want to specify how many characters of the file you'd like to read. But if we leave it blank, it's going to read the whole thing for us. Anyway, let's try printing this content now that we have in the terminal so that we can see what happens. But before we run the file, we should also do one more thing, and that is to close the file once we're finished with it. And that's because keeping a file open uses system resources, and it could also lead to data corruption in some cases as well. So once we're finished with a file, we should close it using the close method on the file itself. And now we can save the file and run it so we can see all the file contents printed to the terminal. Awesome. So we have seen how to open, read and close a file now, but I also want to show you one other method that we can use on this file for reading content, and that is the read lines method, which reads the file and returns a list of strings to us, where each string in that list is just a single line in the document. So let's try this by making a new variable called lines and setting that equal to file.readLines and invoke that. And now, since this lines variable is a list, we could loop through it or iterate it to print out each line individually. So to do that, we'll say for line in lines and then a colon. And then for each iteration, we'll just print out the current line. So then, once we've done that, we can save the file and then let's run it as well one last time. And when you do that, you should see each line is printed separately in the terminal. Now, just very quickly before we go any further, I want to stress that if the file that we try to open doesn't exist, then this is going to cause an error. So if you're working with files whereby you don't know if they exist, then it might be a good idea to wrap your logic in a try except block to handle that error. And we will be looking at things like that later on in this chapter. Anyway, now we know how to read files. In the next lesson, we'll look at writing to files.